Now for the Zogbots. For those who don't know, the term Zog means Zionist occupied government, and the police are their mindless automatons that just are programmed to fuck anyone over that the banks don't like. Right? If you obstruct profits, the Zogbots will knock on your door. If you deal drugs out of a Christian house, that's kosher. The Zog wants you to do that, so no cops will knock on your door. They will protect you as drug dealers because the Jews, or the elites, or the plutocracy, or the Epstein Island client list, whatever you want to call them, they are destroying slash transforming America with drugs. So it's not like I can call the police. The police might still be monitoring my videos, but they won't actually do anything about any of this. This is fucking insane to me. This has been multiple times where I have caught drug deals on camera and posted them to YouTube or, BitChute or whatever, and then sent that to the police along with photos and images of the evidence. And the cops didn't do fucking anything in Albuquerque, etc. My experience with Liberty University Police Department was actually rather educational for that because they don't actually like stop drugs or lift a finger to oppose marijuana or arrest people for smoking marijuana or anything like that. But they came after me for exposing their corruption, which I found by opposing marijuana. If you oppose evil, you'll find the corruption within these Christian institutions. And marijuana is evil. Like, I know evil is such a terrible term for objectivity, but it's pretty bad. For example, if you quantify or qualify an operational definition of evil in terms of destruction, marijuana is destructive with its gateway drug effect, increase in crimes, violent crimes, domestic violence, rapes, homicides, vehicular assaults, suicides, child rapes, cannabis facilitated sex crimes, cannabis induced sex crimes, etc. But somehow the Liberty University Police Department came after me for tweets, but they weren't actually stopping anyone from doing the marijuanas. They were building a case against me while I was giving them tips for marijuana dealers on campus. So the police protect the drug dealers and attack people that oppose drugs. This is a Zogbot order. This is the order from Zog. The Zionist occupied government is using marijuana and other drugs to, reduce and replace the American population. This has been happening for decades. I don't know why some people think it's still taboo to discuss this. This has been an ongoing process for years. It's not reversible. I mean, we have the record amount of immigrants. And that's one of the reasons that the Jews or the Epstein Island, whoever you want to call them, I'll just use the term Jews because right now there's specific Jewish individuals that are pushing it online and Anglo-Saxon white Christians in real life. um, but that's why they use it. A nation is weakened by drugs, and a nation weakened by drugs is susceptible to invasion and conquering. So this is like a soft war, a soft conquest through Hollywood, psychological manipulation, psyops, media manipulation over the decades. And cannabis product placement is a big part of that. And so the police are also a part of this social control mechanism. They are a tool that is used to enforce the will of the rich, of the banks. For example, so when I'm posting this now, there's these marijuana junkies that gang stalk me. And undoubtedly, they're thinking, oh no, he's figured out a way to stop, secondhand marijuana exposure and his life's going to get better. We can't allow that. Quick, do something. Force marijuana on him. Goes all the way to Donald Trump, right? Listen, Graham, you're under arrest for saying no to drugs. The important thing is they are God's chosen people, and the Jews make money. So fuck you. No, it's. I guarantee these marijuana junkies have my address, have my location, IP address the shit out of me, etc. And do things like this. Figure out how to increase the amount of marijuana exposure against my will and without my consent in proximity. Now, the police have to be aware of this, right? And so do the feds, the FBI, the government, etc., the state. They have to be monitoring electronic communication and electronic device activity. So they have to be aware that I am being gang stalked by marijuana junkies, unless, of course, they are the marijuana junkies that are gang stalking me, right? It's like the feds and stuff. And they're not doing anything about it. That is very suspicious in itself. They're just allowing marijuana pushers to destroy people's lives without intervening. But if I were to murder one of these marijuana pushers, I guarantee the cops would be all over me. That's what I learned from Liberty University. They'll be on me over tweets, but not over the marijuana pushers who cause suicides and homicides and rapes. I think while I was living there in Lynchburg, there was a multiple homicide that occurred by a guy high on marijuana on off Wards Road by the Waffle House, like a few miles away from the university. That could have been prevented by the police not allowing marijuana to be legalized, like arresting corrupt politicians, ignoring the well, Senator Weinberg Steinwitz says that marijuana is completely harmless and makes your dick bigger and makes you smarter and helps you believe in your gender affirming, transformations. So therefore, we're just going to be corrupt because our owners and bosses are corrupt. It's so fucking full of shit. And that reminds me, when I was living in Albuquerque in the South Valley, the marijuana, the cannabis advocate Episcopalians who stole $60,000 from an 80-year-old man there at 2811 Don Felipe Road. They had a restraining order filed against me because they said I threatened their female trans pastor or something, and I didn't. But I did send her email saying, "Hey, the secondhand marijuana is setting off my schizophrenia." So the last time that happened bad enough, I bashed someone's head in with a baseball bat, and the dude ended up with like 7 stitches and all this stuff. And the report that I got, which an officer showed up to my door and handed to me, said in the email, "I'm going to bash your heads in with a baseball bat." But in that same report, in the evidence, which was screenshots of the email, those words weren't in that sequence, in that email. Not once in the email did I say what they accused me of saying, which was the justification for this restraining order. And I found out the judge was the woman's husband. Churches are corrupt as it is, but the state, like that's the whole separation of church and state, is to avoid the church corruption influencing the state. The state's corrupt too. Even now, with this drug pushing, drug dealing marijuana junkie, not the one that's shitting himself or the one that's dealing coke for him, but the main supply there, Dean. I thought about this, right? So when he came up and started threatening me and was threatening me and pulling a knife on me, it would have been really easy to kill him because the brain is stronger than the body. He had stairs behind him. And all I would have had to do was rush him fast enough to get him down those stairs. If I could have just lunged and tackled and jumped and landed full force, all my body weight on his chest, given that he was already in cardiac arrest, that would have stopped him. I mean, maybe not. He was on cocaine. He might have been like, and stabbed me, but But it would have been really easy to kick his ass, even with me only having one hand and him pulling a knife, a switchblade, I think it was. Um, the cops would have arrested me if I didn't break out my fucking cell phone and get all that shit on video. I would have gone to prison or jail because I have no faith in these fucking cops. Like the shit that I'm reading is not matching the reality of the police behavior in real life. Liberty University, Albuquerque police, they're all my interactions with police have been testament to the fact that all these ethical codes that I'm reading are bullshit. Cops don't fucking follow those. If they did, I wouldn't be dealing with this shit, right? The guy pulling a switchblade on a cripple wouldn't have been released because he's high on the drugs and the marijuana and God knows what else. What's the ethics in that? Oh, well, Jesus or something doesn't want us to hurt the feelings of the bad guys, and Black Lives Matter means that we're not supposed to hurt the feelings of the criminals. So fuck the victims. Yeah, but this is an old white guy. Oh, well, Senator Steinbergwitz has very specifically stated this. You're under arrest for saying no to drugs. Right? It's fucking insane. Like, had I killed that guy, I'd have been arrested. He pulled a knife, he threatened me with a gun, went away in an ambulance because he was having a stroke, even though his left arm was not known on the left side. He was fucking overdosing on cocaine. And then they released him a week later, and he went right back to doing the drugs. Tell me how law enforcement is ethical by allowing that? Well, listen, Goyam, the important thing is they're God's chosen people and they make the money. So fuck you. The other roommate, Vincent, told me he tried to get a pizza delivered here and they refused to deliver it to him at this house. Now, I assume that's, and this could be wrong, but most likely this house has a reputation in this neighborhood and for the people in this town as a drug house. Which is hilarious because the Christian landlady bullshit that I was fed. Oh, the landlady's a Christian, so she doesn't let any drugs or marijuana on her property or smoking or any of that. Yeah, that was fucking full of shit. Um, so yeah, people in this town and neighborhood know this house, and they know Vincent. Oh yeah, Mister Marijuana junkie, fucking cocaine dealing. God only knows what else he's dealing on the side. And so that reputation is associated with this location. Where are the police for that? Because if that's the case, that means that he's been dealing drugs out of this house for a very long time. Months, if not years. And the cops, like, they can't even pretend they don't know about it. I've reported it. They just don't do anything about it. Why wouldn't you do something about that? What the fuck? Why can't I just find drug-free housing? Like, I get the police are shitty and corrupt Zogbots, and so marijuana legalization wasn't stopped, but cocaine is still illegal, last I checked. So is pulling a switchblade on a cripple like that. That's like a threat. It's weird. The dispatch and the officers are very big on empathy for the, junkie that pulled the knife on you. I only have one fucking hand. This dude's pulling a knife on me, and you're giving him the empathy and the sympathy. I'm the bad guy for being the victim and sober. I'm the bad guy for saying no to drugs, so I get fucked for being right by the cops and the church. It's fucking insane.